especially on a cruise because it changes, especially at a resort, because they change on a daily basis. So it is like the old story goes, the earlier that you book, the better you're going to be. Same with on-board and on-site activities. The earlier you can catch that, more availability, more active availability. When I started in the industry, everybody to this day, I forgot the question. How many in this room have ever booked a group? Fantastic, congratulations. When I started in the industry and was working in groups and I would say I'm gonna start working groups, and I would say the same thing, have any of you ever done a group? And everybody would hide their head. Everybody thinks groups are hard to sell. They're really not. I want you to stop and think about this for a minute. How many times have you booked a family of, 5 or 6 or 7 or 8? Or you've done like 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 cabins on a cruise? You've booked a group, okay? You need to stop, emphasizing the name group. It is not harder to sell a group. The advantage, of course, of selling a group is that it is because you are selling and you're getting usually one lump sum for commission. So it's all about if you can keep yourself and manage and stay organized, then you should have no problems being able to sell a group. And it attracts first-time travelers and you have less competition. Most travel agencies that are out there today do not work in groups because they think it's too much hassle, too much, and so it does give you the up as far as less competition. First-time travelers, the reason why I say this is if you put a group together, they're more apt to travel with you because they're afraid to travel by themselves. But if they see, for example, you're putting a knitting club together and it's like, wow, I do knitting and that would be good. I bet to get together with other knitters and they're going to have on board, they're going to have different types of knitting classes and stuff. Even though I'm a single, I may be a widow, but you know what? With other people that do the same kind of stuff that I like. So we have something in common. Okay. So that's going to be a lot easier. Creates repeated loyal customers. This is something I always push agents when you're creating a group, whether it's a cruise or a resort. Always be thinking about that next trip. You know how at ITQ and even at this activity, you know how we all at the end of last day of the trip, we tell you where the next year the event's going to be. There's going to be a cruise, what destination is going to be. We come up with this big, here's where it's going to be. If you're putting together a group, but let's say it's a family reunion group, and they like to do it, and you thought maybe you should make it an annual event. So now this year you did like a Mexico cruise, so then you put together something for Alaska. And it, last day of the trip saying, ta-da, guess where we're going next year? We're going to Alaska. Here is the opportunity where you can offer them the next cruise flyer, because every cruise line offers a marketing material of a flyer telling them that, here, if you make a reservation on board the ship, not only are you going to get a special pricing on board, but you're also going to get the additional amenity of an onboard credit. So it's a win-win. And then you get the credit for the booking. You can do the same thing with our land tour companies. Okay. So again, here's another great opportunity. Now, I'm always talking groups, but this is another, take anything home from this whole couple days, take that home with you because you can do this on an individual reservations as well. You're missing out because it doesn't cost you anything to send out that flyer to promote their next trip. It doesn't cost anything other than they're going to book something and you get all the credit. Okay. Maximizing your time and work equation. Working a group is not any harder. Like I said, as long as you stay organized. I have agents that create Excel spreadsheets, keep them well organized. They know how much they collected. They know who they spoke to. It's not any different than anything else. Okay. And then increasing opportunity for add-on values. Our cruise lines and our tour companies and even resorts have now given you the opportunity. So let's say that you have you want to put together, it's going to be a Jamaica festival and it's going to be, you want to be able, you're bringing DJs on board or you're having DJs at the resort and you've got all these additional expenses. You have the opportunity to add on, say, for example, $300 per person. Okay. You can add on for additional commission. Understanding, and when you're adding on and add on this value, it's going to be added on now. So the client does see the higher price, but it doesn't come back to you until the commission is paid. Therefore, if these expenses need to be paid in advance to the DJ or to whoever, you have to pay that out first and it comes back to you at the end. IntelliTravel does not take a split of that, okay? But it's a great opportunity. Before you weren't allowed to do that. So if you booked a Carnival cruise, you can add on to it. Well, you know what? I decided it's so inexpensive on this cruise. I'm gonna add on $100 per person. You know what? For additional commission. Great idea. So what the clients are gonna see, instead of it costing $500, their invoice is gonna show $600, okay? So again, you can do this with the cruise lines, you can do it with the tour companies, you can do it with the resorts. You know, it's a great opportunity. Create specific consumer demand. You need to take this opportunity to think about what's in your area. I love to promote, like if there's a particular high-end restaurant in the area, you know, that's the easiest one. You go to the restaurant owner or the chef of the restaurant and say, hey, have you ever thought about putting together or joining and going as the escort or going as the host? And I'll put together a culinary cruise. Like I would put together something on AMA or any one of the cruise lines that do culinary cruises and just say, look, here's an opportunity. You would get to go as the host. We get a certain amount of cabins, you'll be able to go as free. I've done this very successfully with a lot of restaurants because usually they run with the ball. They're promoting it to their patrons. You don't have to do anything because you're going to give them the comp anyway. So again, you're creating a specific consumer demand. And of course, the number one reason to sell a group is, guess what? It is more profitable to you. This is where we always say you're going to put more money in your bank. Very, very important. So there are two different types of groups. One is called an affinity group. The other is called a speculative group. The affinity group is the one that I talked about earlier. Groups that have a relationship with each other. So I'm talking about the, you know, wedding group. I'm talking about the family reunion. I'm talking about the, you know, the knitting club, a multi-generational culinary cruise, history buffs. These are all examples of affinity groups, okay? Religious groups, corporate meetings. We're an affinity group right now, travel, okay? Bridge and other card groups. So there's thousands and thousands of affinity groups that you can get. And you can actually just Google it and it'll pull up in Google as well. Speculative group is just what it says. Speculative group is you're speculating whether or not it's going to materialize. IntelliTravel does not encourage speculative groups. The reason being because the majority of the time they don't materialize, okay? It's like, you know, taking the spaghetti, throwing it up against the wall, see if it works. The only way that I would ever confirm and approve you doing a speculative group is you need to come to me and say, okay, Cheryl, here's what I got. Here's my plan. Here's my marketing plan. This is what I'm going to be doing. You need to show me that you've got a very strong marketing plan and this is what I'm going to do to be able to get this to work. Because in most instances, what's happening is we are limited on resorts and on cruise lines, the amount of space that we can book. And if you're pulling space, for example, on a Carnival cruise and you're blocking a certain amount of cabins on a particular ship and sailing date, well, another agent may need that ship and sailing date that's got a confirmed family reunion that wants to go, is ready to book, has got their money, and you've pulled the last amount of space and they're not able to get it because, again, you're trying to book a speculative group. So we need you to contact me or my agents in the groups department. Let me know exactly what we're thinking and what you can produce, and then we'll move forward with to let you know if it'll be confirmed for you. Who, everybody knows who this is? The Pied Piper. You do some dancing. He's dancing like Jessica. He's actually doing a good job, isn't he, Jessica? Yes. So do you all know that all of us in this room, we are Pied Pipers. We all can put something together. We all know people. We are all group leaders. Stop and think about that. You're all Pied Pipers in this room. Okay, which means that you can put together a group. You really need to realize it. And you're the one that motivates people. You're the one that are booking these trips. You're the one that put people together. Whether it is a group or not, you can cultivate the group. Okay, so where you're going to find sources for finding a group is examine your own agency's clientele. Remember, sometimes we have a habit of booking or looking at trips from what we can do in our own wallet. We don't want you to do that. Examine what's in your area. You might live in a community that the household income is 500,000 or the household income is 1.5 million. You don't know. So you need to think about that, how you're selling. If you're starting to put something together, if you got an area of 1.5 million, I don't think I would be concentrating on Carnival, and would be looking at a type of quality of a cruise line. Ask your family and friends, review your own personal contacts. You'd be surprised. I have a sister-in-law. She works for a very large corporation. Well, who do you think I'm going to contact and say, hey, what do they do for their end of year? Do they have a sales review? Do they have a sales meeting? Who puts that together? Is that an opportunity for me to be able to say, how about I put like this weekend? What about, can I put it together for them? Again, this is another great opportunity. So you need to be thinking about that. Look at your own personal contact. Consider the groups that you belong to. How many of you belong to some type of faith? You belong to a church, you belong to a synagogue. How many of you belong to a religious? Okay. So have you ever thought about going to the father, the pastor, or the rabbi and saying,
She is the father in the family.
okay, yeah, because I can, so.
She is the pastor in the family.
Yeah. Okay, they want me to go up, stand up the thing.
Oh,
You can't see me in the back. Sorry, guys. Ta-da! Don't expect any, just like a dancing, because that ain't coming from me. I'm allowed to die. Are you kidding me? So hopefully that's better. Sorry, guys, in the back. Okay. Talking about consider the groups you belong to. Okay.
Pastor Rabbi.
Yes.
To the pastor.
Contact your pastor or rabbi. Thank you for getting me back on track and say, hey, have you ever thought about putting together a faith-based trip? One of our preferred partners, not just one, we have several of them that specialize in faith-based trips. Educational Travel Services does it. Go Away does it. A lot of our tour operators specialize in faith-based travel. If you go to the pastor or rabbi and say, hey, how would you like to go on a trip and escort and go free? Who's not going to jump on it? Okay. And it doesn't, remember, yeah, there's things going on in the Middle East. There's plenty of destinations in the world besides the Middle East that have faith-based, places you can visit. Spain, Portugal, all over the place. There's so many places that you can go that have all kinds of sites for religious reasons. So I encourage you. That's another great opportunity, and they're never going to turn it down. I've done a lot of groups like that. Explore wine club, art dealerships, luxury car dealerships. The reason why I say this is, we all know that car salesman guy, right? Who drives you all crazy when you pull in. You contact the car dealership, the general manager of the car dealership, say, hey, what are you doing to incentivize your salesman? Normally it's money. How about I put something together that they get incentivized by winning a 7-night cruise or a 7-night destination in Jamaica? Another great opportunity to go and try and get a group from. There's dealerships, they will jump on it because they don't want to always just give them money. They want to incentivize. Any corporations want to incentivize them people by something, and that's what you can do. Okay. One of the biggest thing that I love to do, okay, at the end of this, guess what you're going to be able to do? Update your website that you are a group specialist and certified. Research social media. What I say by that is, I had an agent last year or 2 years ago contacted me and she said, I have this, I want to do something in social media and I want to check something out on foodies and stuff. What do you think about doing? I said, give it a shot. So she was looking and found this person that was kind of semi-well-known that was a foodie. And so she reached out to the person and said, hey, have you ever thought about hosting a culinary cruise? And would you be interested in I put something together? Well, they started up a conversation. They dragged me into it. And they ended up booking one of our preferred partners cruise and ended up booking 100 cabins from just looking on social media. You see what I'm saying? Again, the opportunities are there. Contact your local chamber of commerce. Every single month, they have a meeting and they have always invite some type of entertainment to come in. And they, you can go and say, can I come in and talk about something? Invite your BDM from, for example, Royal Caribbean. Every time you turn around, they're coming out with a new ship. Go in and promote their brand new ship, okay? All you're doing is you're promoting you, you're promoting yourself as a travel agent, And that's what, this is a great way to get your name out there,
Mhm.
okay? I already talked about research in a local restaurant. I also say contact photography studios, bridal salons, tuxedo places, anything that has to do with weddings. You know, invite yourself and say, look, here's my business card. I can help put their honeymoon together. I can specialize in putting their honeymoon together and their ceremony together. Destination weddings are the way to go. But if you make contact with these people and just say, you know what, you scratch my back, I'll scratch your back. I will let anybody know that this is where they can come get their dress and so forth. Okay. So when I say call and introduce yourself to just organizations, I also recommend Google any local organizations in your area. You're gonna find thousands and thousands of these, okay? From American Cancer Society to American Diabetes Society to, you know, everything under the sun. You're gonna find all these organizations. They're always looking for donations. And there isn't a tour operator or cruise line that does not work with fundraising. So I have to do is contact them and say, hey, what can I do for you right now? What is your goal this year that you're trying to meet for your fundraising? And how about we put something together? You're never gonna hear the answer no from fundraising corporation or organization. Okay, thank you. I'm doing good. Okay, all right. So send an email to potential, you know, group leaders or Pied Pipers. Contact your local business development manager to help you promote, you know, if you have something in mind specific. I am a firm believer, if you know either of a brand new resort or brand new destination or brand new cruise line that's coming out, you just found out about it, it's coming out in, you know, spring of 2028 or the fall of 2027. First of all, I'd grab the space on it. And second of all, I'd ask the BDM, let's do a, you know, cruise night and start promoting it. Because that price is gonna keep going up and up and up as it gets closer and closer. What a great opportunity, because you got the pricing when it was much lower at the beginning. Okay, and when it's bright and new and brand new and shiny, everybody wants to be on that bright new shiny cruise ship or resort or whatever. They want to be on it. Everybody wants it. And you're going to have the space on it. So again, I say about creating a travel, you know, event cruise site. Visit vendor websites. Remember what I said about the Cruise Next? That's where that collateral's at. As well as you create flyers to help you promote any type of trip. If you go on every the portals of the cruise lines or the tour operators, they have collateral for promoting groups. And promoting on your website, again, you're going to be able to now promote that you're a group specialist and you're a certified group agent. What I mean by creating a detailed marketing plan is something I did a long time ago, because in my younger days, I had a habit of being procrastinating. Yeah, you know, I'll call that group leader next week. When I created a detailed marketing plan, it was almost like it forced me to be accountable to myself. So in other words, I would say, you know, the week of, I'm gonna contact 5 group leaders. The following week, I'm gonna do the follow-up on those 5 group leaders. The following week, I'm gonna contact 5 local organizations. You know, just listing and assigning dates and so forth. At the end of the year, you will see some return on investment. If you commit to it, you will start to see your growth grow and the people that you've been able to capture as groups. But you've got to be in it and be totally committed. This is a great way to promote yourself for grouping. And then examine, I already talked about, ask your family and friends. Consider the groups that you belong to. Done all of that. Oh, my favorite screen. Here's my favorite screen. Do's and don'ts. All right, you must collect all payments to gross. This lady right here, this is definitely me. Okay, must collect all payments to gross. You must utilize the IntelliTravel credit card authorization form at all times. The only time you're not required to have the IntelliTravel credit card authorization form for your records is if you're utilizing our new IntelliSpark program platform. Other than that, you must have it. We are seeing a huge uptick of disputes on credit card authorization forms. And if you do not have the IntelliTravel credit card authorization form, then you will be held accountable. So it is ultra important that you have it. Don'ts, you cannot, for any circumstances, collect direct payments from your clients. It doesn't mean if it's your sister, your brother, your mother, it doesn't matter. You're not allowed to collect first payments at all. and you're not allowed to make personal payments. So you can't collect them by anything else, and you also cannot make any bookings and pay the to net. That includes your own personal booking. Every booking has to be paid in full to gross. Understand that if you earn enough to earn a tour conductor credit, IntelliTravel does not take a piece of of your tour conductor credit. You get 100% of that value of that tour conductor credit. Okay, so your split on the commission is what your normal split is, but if you earn a tour conductor credit, IntelliTravel doesn't take any part of it. You earn that at 100%. But we are very strict. These are IntelliTravel policies and procedures. And you know, if you pay to net, we're coming after you. And we'll put your account on withhold. So it's very important that you don't do that. It is a policy. You must pay everything to gross. Okay. Group commissions. So commissions are always really fun. Especially when it comes to hotels. Majority of the time, if you're dealing with a cruise line, it's pretty obvious. And I'm going to give you some information on this next slide. It'll tell you a bit more what I'm talking about. But if you've not been able to get the answers that you want on your group commissions, please go in the back office, submit a ticket to the commissions team, and they will research it. What normally happens is if it's a group commission, they will reach out to me. We will work together to find out where your commission is and make sure we can resolve it and reconcile it. Commission for hotels is a little bit different. Some hotels require a W-9. Some hotels require an invoice. Before you start, hello, where's my commission? You need to first contact the hotel and find out, did they need a W-9? Do they need an invoice? And if they do, you've got to go in the back office, submit this information to the commissions team. They will send out the invoice and the W-9. Once that's been sent, then the process will be a lot easier as far as the commission is concerned, okay? And then I just said about the W-9s. Now, how do cruise and tour partners pay individually, or do they pay to the group number? The list is, you know, it's like, you wouldn't believe it's 3 pages long. So what I have done, I've created this collateral for you. If you come visit me over at the trade show, I have this to give this to you, which tells you which way the partner pays. It has the name of the partner, whether they pay the individual or pay to the group number. And that's the way you have to register in the back office. The majority of the time, the reason why an agent does not receive commission, whether it's individual or group, from IntelliTravel is because it's not registered properly. We have no intentions of holding your commission, but it's usually because it's not registered properly. So make sure you come to see me at the trade show, and I have this collateral for you, okay? Same thing that we talked about paying to net, all gross paying to net. Contracts, there is an actual form, a listing of what's required. Thank you, Dana. Jessica's too. Group contracts, it tells you what exactly has to be on group hotel contracts, what's listed, what's important on it. So that's another piece of collateral that I do have next door that I can give to you. All group hotel contracts or any contracts of any kind pertaining to a group have to be reviewed and approved and signed by me. Okay. And the reason being, I'm going to tell you a really quick story, right, Jessica? I got time. Okay. We had an agent several years ago that did a hotel contract, and it was for the NFL playoffs. And this agent came to me and was booking a hotel in Dallas, and he said, I'm going to book 100 rooms, blah, 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 blah. Well, I looked at the group contract, and it had the attrition was like 100%, and the penalty was 100% after the contract was signed. And I said, there's no way I'm approving this. IntelliTravel, no way. I'm not putting IntelliTravel financially liable, or you, I will not approve. Well, I'm going to move forward. Well, you move forward, you're putting it in your name, take it out of IntelliTravel's name, and it's on you. I said, I highly encourage you, don't do it. You're going to make a mistake. Long story short, a couple of days went by, I called the hotel to make sure he did change it. He did. 6 months goes by, I get a call from the hotel. Hey, Cheryl. I said, yeah. So I want to let you know how the group make out. I said, okay, they had 100 rooms. How many sell? 1. I said, oh my God. What's the penalty? $49,500.
Remember I told you that story?
It is in 3 years.
Told you.
Now, he called me about 20 minutes after the hotel did, and he calls me, Cheryl, I'm like, what am I going to do? I said, well, you're going to have to call and make payment arrangements. You know, how am I going to do that? You know, is there a way for me to get out of it? No. This is a legal and binding contract. I told you not to do this. You didn't listen. This is where you are. You need to understand, it's a legal and binding contract. They will come and take your home. They will come and take everything you own. To this day, 3 years later, he's still paying it off. Okay? So there's a reason why, it's not for me to aggravate, frustrate, or anything. There's a reason why I would say, no, we're not signing that contract, or no, you need to go back and have that changed, because I'm reviewing it. Okay? And so it talks about groups contracts, any contracts have to be submitted for me to review. Did anybody know that we have a group's homepage?
Yes.
Real?
No.
How many know we have a group's homepage? Wow. A handful. Guess what? We have a group's homepage. In the back office, under book travel, you'll see groups. I spent a lot of time on this homepage. And you'll actually see a listing of all of our partners. You can actually, it's a quick link into each one of their websites. It says what is required from them as far as forms, anything that you need to know to complete for groups. So please visit the group's homepage, as well as the 2 pieces of collateral I'm giving you today. They are also attached as well. Did you know Wednesday, every single Wednesday night, we have group webinars with one of our partners? All right, 9 o'clock EST on Wednesday night, every Wednesday night. We have a preferred partner webinar talking specifically about groups, okay? And then, of course, visit the intellectual back office library for any information, and any of our already pre-recorded webinars. I don't think I have time for Q&A, right? Send that out. Jessica, no, absolutely not. So there you are, Jessica, I'm dancing. All right, guys, thank you very much. Please see me over at the trade show, and I have business cards and the collateral for you. Thank you guys all, and I will see you again tomorrow.
Okay. We are getting ready for the trade show, and before I send you in there, you've got an hour. But I want you to know something. I've got 20 prizes, 19 prizes. 10 of them are going to be given away today during lunch. Here is your assignment. You need to have 3 supplier names, what their supplier is, like what their brand is. So I want you to know their names, their brand, and a quick story about something that you learned about their brand that ties into groups. So Pam, there is a martini bar here that has billiards in it, pool table. So think about what you like to do to help you get your niche. Niching is not, I sell cruises, I sell all-inclusive. It's who do you sell them to? I sell cruises to people who like to play pool. I do crafts for people, I do all-inclusives for people who like to do crafts. So find out what all these suppliers have to offer during lunch. You're gonna raise your hand, you're gonna tell me your stories, and whoever has the best stories for me, you're gonna win prizes. All right, you've got an hour in there. I'll see you back here in 1 hour. And if you're on time, like if you're 1 minute early, you're gonna get to see the Dreammaker song that I do and learn the history behind it. All right?